People have different opinions about the budget.
Setting up an MSME industry by itself, may seem like a very easy option. One good thing that has come out of the budget is also that, there is a proposal to, extend this period to 180 days so that it gives some bit of cushioning for the MSMEs. So then what is the next step, right? So these are the two aspects that have been answered very well in this budget. Last few years is that the government has begun to understand what the capabilities of the MSMEs are. The government recognizes that there are a lot of shortcomings or the limitations that an MSME has. There is a huge impetus on internships. That is, the government wants interns to go and start working in MSMEs, understand the rigmaroles of how an MSME is run.
2,000 crores earmarked in MSME clusters and tech hubs. So will this mega investment catapult the small businesses to a global stardom? So welcome to Budget 2024, the game changers for MSME, the podcast where we break down the big numbers, hefty jargons and union budget into digestible, relatable, dare we say, entertaining bites. I'm Inder, your host and host, serving up the insights with a side of wit and a dash of humor. So this week we are diving into the union budgets 2024, and trust me, it's a buffet of goodies for the MSMEs and manufacturing sector. So we'll explore the government decisions, double up the Mudra loan limit, more than just a number. It's a lifeline for the small business. Are we looking into the financial adrenaline shot, or is just doubling the worry? Next, we'll peel back the layers of the new credit guarantee schemes, offering 200 crores without collateral. Is this the ticket to manufacturing renaissance, or just an elaborate dream without a safety net? We are tackling big news of TRDS platform into the new lower entry bar. Will MSME find the liquidity gold mine, or just another bureaucratic hoop jump through? And what's cooking in the food processing sector? With the new facilities, 100 labs on the menu, is this a recipe for success or merely a spy in the sky? Plus the taxes tweaks like dramatic reduction in TDS on online shopping, angel tax abolition. Are we on the brink of startup utopia, or just indulging into a fairy tale? Lastly, we have 22 crores allocated to new MSME clusters and tech hubs. We'll discuss whether the mega investment will catapult the small business into global stardom, or is just a lot of expensive tech parts. So join me in the upcoming podcast on debates, their real world impacts, and share a few laughs along the way. Budget 2024, the game changers for MSME, where we make serious business of some serious fun. So welcome everyone. So today we have Mr. Guruprasad over here with us. So Mr. Guru is a director at Solution Buggy and brings over 20 years of experience in consulting. An IIM alumni, steering his second entrepreneur venture. He previously founded Propergy, a real estate data analytics startup, and was successfully acquired by Magic Bricks in 2016. So a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Guru, to our Budget 2024 Game Changers MSME podcast, episode 1.
Thank you.
All right. So I have a couple of questions. So recently you saw the budget that has presented by Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. People have different opinions about the budget. Some say it's good, boon, bane. But let's look at and focus about the MSMEs over here. There's this one question which is ringing in my head, so I'll just put forward to you. It's like, so India aims to be the global manufacturing superstar, and the new budget policies are the opening act. Are these measures the blockbuster hit we need, or just a catchy tunes without a substance? What do you think, Mr. Guru?
Thanks for the question. So today, setting up an MSME industry by itself, may seem like a very easy option. There are umpteen number of opportunities. There are government schemes. There are opportunities within the domestic sector as well as the export market. But we also have to see the other end of the spectrum, right? Where we are seeing a huge NPAs, almost to the tune of almost 12.8% are NPAs. And banks are literally scared to, get into the route of MSME lending. And what we have seen also post-COVID is that, a lot of these loans have not been serviced for 90 plus days and hence have been branded as NPS. One good thing that has come out of the budget is also that, there is a proposal to, extend this period to 180 days so that it gives some bit of cushioning for the MSMEs. But having said that, a large part of the MSME credit worthiness has not been answered till today.
So my question too is, why you think it is like it's not been answered? Like,
Right.
what is the major reasons behind it in terms of, because a common person would like to know all these, no?
Right.
So if you can reflect something on that.
Correct. So, traditionally, what is the way that in India MSMEs are being set up has been that a person has been a trader typically in that particular product. He's either getting it from, China or any of the Southeastern countries and then trying to trade it in Indian domestic market. And he at some point feels that, there is a good margin, there is a good customer base that he has set up, and the logical path for him is to get into manufacturing of these products in India. And that's how the Make in India has been, such a successful, provision. But when he goes to the bank with this proposal, the first thing the banks look at it is, you do not have experience in the manufacturing sector. You are not having enough, credit history to be, eligible for the loans. So then what is the next step, right? So these are the two aspects that have been answered very well in this budget. One is banks have been given, the authority or the access to set up their own units, which will be, gauging the customer's creditworthiness, which traditionally has been handled by third-party agencies. And the second part is the digital transactions that the person has been making will now be taken into consideration while gauging his creditworthiness. I think these are two huge factors which will help banks assess the creditworthiness of the entrepreneur and thus give him loans or give him credit, not just for buying the machinery, or give loans based on collaterals, which has been the traditional scenario.
Okay. Thanks for responding to that, Mr. Guru. There's a lot of insight I think our viewers would have understood from that. There's one more question, so in 2024 budget, it's like showering love for MSMEs. That's been done by Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. But what are the real game changers here? That's something which I would like to know as a youngster. What are the benefits that we're getting? As a person who is the owner in MSME, what he is getting, and what should the government focus to ensure these measures aren't flashed in a pan of certain things? So
Right.
How would you respond to this?
Right. See, I think the best thing that has happened over the last few years is that the government has begun to understand what the capabilities of the MSMEs are, and not just doling out policies and, incentives just to encourage new MSMEs to come in. See, we very well understand that, the government does not need to be a know-all body, which the previous governments have been, but but take the role of a facilitator. So, although the Make in India policy claims that everything can be made in India, to an extent the government understands that our MSMEs capabilities, have some certain limitations, and that is where the government says that you can do everything from scratch, but here is where where we expect you to enter, and this is how you will be taking it to the next level. So for that, what the policies have looked at is basically the basic customs duty on X-ray machines, X-ray machine tubes, and flat panel detectors has been reduced. So now what will this boil down to is, you can enter into medical devices assembly units. You don't have to start everything from the scratch. You can get into assembly units of PCBs, because that is another area where the duty has been reduced considerably. The government has also taken a look at lithium ion imports, one of the rare metal imports, and completely taken off duty of that. So which will obviously enable new assembly units for lithium-ion batteries. Continuing that, there is also good incentives for manufacturing of solar panel, solar panel manufacturing, and similar such duty reductions, which will promote local manufacturing to a large extent.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So how you guys are in Solution Buggy? So we have, I came to know that there are 4 types of customer who comes to us, right? So if we have to put into somebody in this sort of thing, how Solution Buggy is going to help us in certain things like we have to promote?
Right. So see, typically Solution Buggy as an organization sees, 2 major kind of customers. One is mainly who is, having a budget in mind and who is looking to set up an industry, but has no clue as to which sector should he invest into, what is a, sunrise sector, what are the government incentives in that sector, who will give me the detailed project report, whom should I approach for setting up of the industry, where is the market for the finished products. So all these aspects, right, from, concept to the commercialization is being handled at Solution Buggy. This is for the first set of customers. The second set of customers are existing MSMEs who are looking at growth as a big, I would say, a big challenge, and who are who have reached to a certain extent with whatever domain expertise and whatever functional expertise they've had, but now need an impetus in terms of an external consultant or an external expert to guide them to the next level of growth. Okay. So these are the growth kind of MSMEs. So this being largely the case, the kind of entrepreneurs and the kind of MSMEs that we are guiding, we have done about 4,000 plus projects over the last 6.5 years.
Quite interesting, like if I look at it in a terms of how you guys are impacting this MSME sector, it's a huge 4,000 project, and I believe that you have around 12,000 consultants. So marrying both of them brings in a lot of credibility for the Solution Buggy. So can you explain certain things about the functional consulting? Let's say nowadays people are having an expertise, they know what to do with their business, the growth, or probably they have a domain consultant helping them through. But let's say in terms of the functional consulting for the growth, I feel that people are a little confused on those aspects, right? So with the introduction of the current budget and with our expertise in the functional consulting, how a customer would be helped? Like how can we help the customer in terms of MSMEs? Yeah.
So see, there are 2 aspects to this. The first is when an MSME comes to us and then is expecting an expert help or advice on any aspect, he's coming from a mindset that this is where my understanding of my business has taken me. Now I need an external help to help me in any of these 7 aspects of functional consulting. It could be anything in HR, it could be in finance, it could be in sales and marketing, or any aspect that the MSME feels that he is lacking in terms of growth. He wants to enter a new market. So, there are a host of things that he needs to be trained, or he needs to, gauge his current expertise, kind of an assess situation, and then tell him that these are the kind of improvisations that you need to do to go to the next level. So that is where the growth level of functional consulting helps in. Now, coming to how the budget is going to, impact this, obviously, like I said, the government recognizes that there are a lot of shortcomings or the limitations that an MSME has. There is a huge impetus on internships. That is, the government wants interns to go and start working in MSMEs, understand the rigmaroles of how an MSME is run, and this will not only help the interns but also help the MSMEs to get talent at a much lower rate, and also at the same time train the next level of expertise that needs to come in and work at the mid and the senior level of management.
Okay. And I feel that they have released around 5 PM programs to upskill the thing. Now, I feel that right now the government is quite serious about upskilling people. Then they use the Skill India, but the kind of enthusiasm that we see towards the government has completely changed over the years. Okay, coming back to the government policies. So there are 50 new food processing facilities and the 100 labs for food testing. It sounds like a recipe of success, you know. But will this the culinary investment really spice up our food industry of the MSME, or is just another pie in the sky that is there? Yeah.
Right. So, setting up of 100 food quality and safety testing labs seems more like a knee-jerk reaction to, all of us have read this recent issue that had cropped up with the ethylene oxide traces being found in a lot of spices and, masala brands of largely famous brands within India. And this was caught in Hong Kong and Singapore and a host of other Southeast Asian countries.
Mm-hmm.
So it could also be a signaling factor to the other countries that, the government is not just sitting lame on this issue, but we are trying to do our part of it. But the other way to look at it is, the government should, rather than being a regulatory body in such aspects, also try to incentivize the existing MSMEs in following these good manufacturing practices. Like for a pharma industry, you have something called GMP, right? So the same thing can be formulated or trickled down to the food and beverage industry, and incentivize the entrepreneur to follow these GMP as a basic hygiene factor. It'll do two things, right? One is it'll make the regulations and the way of implementing the regulations much easier for the government.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, from the entrepreneur aspect, he will be more competitive in the export market.
Mm-hmm.
He will make sure that his products are matching these GMP practices, and knowingly or unknowingly, any of these pitfalls or the lack of regulations that are being taken care of, that are being made, will be taken care of.
Okay.
Right. And otherwise, what I feel is most of these facilities otherwise will go just unutilized and may not contribute to the MSME success as such.
Mm-hmm. Quite interesting. There's one more thing which I want to check is like there are around 2,000 crores earmarked new MSME clusters and tech hubs. So will this mega investment catapult the small businesses to a global stardom, or is just a lot of expensive tech parks? Like we have in Bangalore, like whole place is full of different sort of tech parks. Everybody is booming. We are put up in HSR. We are also booming up like others. So is it in that category, or there's something interesting going to happen?
Right. See, the idea that all related MSMEs will benefit from a cluster, I think, is a bygone era. Because today you see a lot of companies coming up from tier 2, tier 3 cities. We ourselves consult a lot of startups and entrepreneurs in the MSME manufacturing sector, mostly in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. It could be Jalandhar, it could be Coimbatore, it could be Jalgaon, across India. Now, having said that, we cannot expect that all related MSMEs or entrepreneurs will benefit by cohabiting or co-locating. We have already seen this happening in the Surat Diamond Bourse, right? So, a lot of fanfare and a lot of investment has gone into it. But for whatever reasons, and although the intentions were very good, there have been tactical challenges in moving all the diamond traders into this one bourse, and there have been issues in getting people open to the fact that Surat can be a big business hub. Nothing to take away from Surat as such, but the entire adoption rate has been much below the expectation. A similar situation has been seen when agro-processing clusters were set up. Even today, if you see, hardly 10% of the existing APCs have been completely occupied, right? And then there were food parks and mega parks that were set up, and in 2012 or 13 as well. And still there are vacant sites available in these parks. So I believe that hubs or clusters have to be made on a more case-to-case basis than one approach kind of fits all cannot be used in this aspect.
Thanks. Quite interesting insights over there. So I have this one last question. So with the TDS on the online shopping, they cut from 1% to 0.1%, and the Angel tax being banished. Are we in the verge of the startup utopia, or we are just indulging in this some sort of tax fairy tale? What our Nirmala Sitharaman has done. What do you think?
Right.
Yeah.
The word startup utopia is already hit India, I think, at least 5 years before, and we have seen a large set of our startups going into unicorns, unicorns, and a lot of cons. And on the same side, you have seen a lot of startups, seeing the end of daylight and completely shutting down. But if you ask me, TDS for online traders, as you know, has been reduced from 1 to 0.1%, which basically means that transactions today are being recorded even for the traders. So what that will mean for a trader is, one is it will unlock the capital that was being blocked, and he can increase his working capital, which is available for him. The second part is, at the same time, these transactions being recorded are being put into his credit history, right? Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, if the same trader wants to get into set up a manufacturing industry in the MSME segment, now he has a history that he has built, because this is being tracked, right? 0.1% TDS that is being paid is now being tracked, and this he can take back to the banks or the NBFCs and tell them that I've been in existence for so many years, doing the same trade with this amount of transaction volumes, and this is where I need capital today to set up an industry. So it's more or less like two birds in one shot.
Oh, quite interesting,
Right.
So I think that would be all from my end. I mean, there are a lot of good insights that you have given to us. What I want to understand, for after this budget, what is a vision for Solution Buggy that you have that we can impact the MSME world? You've already mentioned a couple of points before, but I would like to, before ending this, we would like to know like how Solution Buggy is going to impact the current MSME sector with their services and whatever they have.
See, the good part that today we are sitting on a lot of data over the last 6.5 years that we have collated, and I think we are of the opinion that we have enough data to tell even we do a lot of consultation with the governments as well. So we are working with the UP government, with the Karnataka government, and as well as the Telangana government, wherein we are working to figure out what are the key industries that can be set up in terms of the key clusters which are coming up in these areas, what kind of incentives the MSME or the entrepreneur is expecting to set up these industries, and what is his self budget in setting up these industries. So this is kind of marrying in all the three aspects that is required for setting up of a new industry, and at the same time we are making sure that these industries are being set up with as much impact as possible for employment generation and also for better resource utilization in these states. So although we are just in 3 states, I'm sure we will be able to cover a lot more states in the next couple of months, and also target at the international markets as well.
I hope. Thanks a lot for your time and all the information that you have given to us. Maybe I'll see you in some other episode. Thank you so much, Mr. Guru.
Thank you, Inder. Thank you. Thank you for the time.